Hello guys, welcome. How would you like to create a Kubernetes multi-node cluster with Kind? Um, Now, for some of you, you may be familiar with Kind. I wasn't until quite some time ago. So Kind uses Docker containers to represent your actual nodes. So in time past, you'd have needed to build 3 VMs. Today I've built one Ubuntu VM, and I'm going to use Kind to provision a Docker environment that creates containers to represent the nodes and actually give a full-blown Kubernetes experience without investing too many VMs and all the overheads. So I have written an article on it. I'll put a link in the description later. But when you go to my website called Expert Network Consultant, you will see that I've got this article create a Kubernetes multi-node cluster with Kind. I'm going to follow along the article because I read the article and I tried to make it as concise as possible. So we're going to go through together. So the first thing as a prerequisite is to have curl installed. Now, a few moments ago, I went ahead to do that. So you can see I've done apt-get install curl, and curl has been installed nicely. So I can do curl, for example, expert network consultant.com, and that's just port 80, and it tells me there's a 301. Perfectly fine. So it works. So now I've got Perl installed, and now it says do an update for your OS. Yeah, let's do it. If I need to reboot the VM mode, then I'll pause the video and then we can carry on. But let's see. It's a new install, so I don't think you have too many updates to worry about. But let me pause the video whilst it installs, and then afterwards we continue. See you later. Oh, actually, that was quick. It's done. Only pause for a second, and then here we are again. Okay, so the next thing is to install Docker. So curl, go to this location and get a docker.sh file. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Right click and paste in the area. And then afterwards, run that shell command. And by the way, that shell command contains all the information you need. When I do ls now, you see that file there. I can do get, and then you can see it has all these that it's going to do. You and I don't need to worry about it, but it's going to do a great job there. So we're going to run the shell to go and get Docker, the latest version, and install it nicely. So that might take a few moments. I'm going to put this on mute. Sorry, on pause for a second. And then once it's done, we resume. All right, guys, welcome back. So it took a few minutes and maybe a minute or two. And now we do have Docker installed. So when I do Docker, maybe when I do -v, it tells me that there's a version of Docker installed. So this guide is quite helpful. And it says you have to give your user permissions to create Docker. So I'm going to do this. I've already done sudo before, so let's see if I can just do user mod. The user okay, here we go. My user account. Okay, you restart your nodes for it to take effect. There are no nodes at the moment, I don't think. The next thing we need to do, okay, it looks like I need to reboot this VM before I carry on. So hang on, guys, I'm going to reboot this VM, or just watch me do it actually. So let me use this method here. Restart. Alright guys, welcome back. I've just restarted the virtual machine, and over here I'm actually thinking that I wouldn't always want to be in the root, so I'm going to try and see if I can make the changes actually to this user mod over here, and hopefully that works fine. Right click and paste. Alright, let's try this. Okay. Let's go ahead and install curl and move it to the local bin. So I'm just going to copy all this and press enter after this, and then let's see the job is doing. Okay, it's done that bit. The next thing is to install kubectl. Okay, we need to kubectl to work with Kubernetes cluster, so that's for sure. So copy the whole command, right click and paste, enter, and then 15 meg, 23 meg, 30 meg. It's done. Now set permissions to this kubectl folder. Every security environment will have a dot somewhere. So here we go. All right, and then now move kubectl to local. Okay. If you say so, Captain, I'll move kubectl to local. Paste. And finally, he says create your cluster manifest file. So I'm going to create a file called cluster config YAML. It's a long name, but I can change that to whatever I want. But for the sake of this documentation, let's do that. Now I can use the word touch for nano or vim. I don't know what I have on this machine yet by default, but let me just try nano to see if nano is there. Nano. Well, nano is there. Okay, so let's modify this a little bit. Let's give our cluster name something interesting. Okay, so over here, let's look at the name of the cluster. Okay, it's a cluster. It has 2 nodes. Okay, and where do I specify the name? Okay, here we go. So these are worker nodes, 2 of them, and node labels are ingress ready. So that's a label will be on the nodes. That's fine. And then we have another one that plays the role of a control plane. So let's go here. Ouch. Copy that. And actually, let's do nano here. Paste. Scroll up a bit. It's complaining of these 2 parts here. I'll find out what the issue is. But I'll do Control X. Yes. And then I will do a kubectl apply. So this time you use the word kind. Create cluster. Clear. ls. So we got a file called cluster config YAML, the one you and I just worked on. So we just do, let's just paste it now. Paste, and then the file name is cluster YAML. Press enter. So kind is doing this magic in background to build environments. Now, if you're familiar with Minikube, you will see that something exactly the same happens when you do Minikube start. You see that it's building this beautiful environment in background for you. So this might take a minute or two, so I'll post the video recording and then we'll get back to you once we're done. So at this juncture, it's starting the control plane. It's written the configurations, prepared the nodes, and you can see 3 boxes there, 3 nodes. There's a master and 2 working nodes. Okay, it's got a node version from kind, and then it's going to set a control plane. So that's a thing of a beauty. Let's keep an eye on it. Well, to save you time, I'll put it on pause for now and then resume when it's moved along. Oh, okay, installing the CNI, that's for networking, storing the storage class, that's beautiful. Joining the working nodes. Now, doing it manually is very, very tiresome, but this does all of it in the background for you, which is awesome, really awesome. And that's why it's good that we can do this video today and actually go through the documentation on my website to ensure that the information I'm giving you is correct. Plus, you get to build your own cluster and enjoy Kubernetes. So once this is done, we can deploy a sample port and try and access it. Oh well, hooray, it's done. Okay, so